is seated right here. Big man, yes, productivity coach helps you improve your productivity. When we settle, he's going to start with us on what this whole productivity conversation is about. Here, so this is once again.
Good morning.
It will start from here. With people like you helping in productivity, why not?
And interestingly, when you travel around, the continent and even the world, people have a lot of respect for the country Ghana.
They do.
Unfortunately, those of us who are in here, we sometimes do not see what we have.
I had that experience in South Africa once. There was an issue at the airport, and they said, "Where are you from?" I said, "I'm from Ghana." Like, wow.
Yeah.
And to show to show me that they love us and they understand us, the guy started saying something like, okay, he was telling his colleagues around that, in Ghana, they name people according to the days. So you are which one? Are you a Kweku? It was fun.
Yeah. And the deep knowledge our colleagues, the African continent have about Ghana, you have no idea. And I always say that as the current generation, we are failing to learn. When you ask somebody, you can take 10 people on the street and just what do you know about Cote d'Ivoire? What do you know about Kenya? What do they know? Trust me, you'll get a majority who have no clue.
Not as
what they know is just a country, but you go to other countries, ask them, what do you know about Ghana? They can mention the capital, they can mention a description that describes how we live, how we stay, and so it really tells us the kind of respect people have for us as a country, and sometimes it's disheartening to hear how we Ghanaians ourselves, we see our country.
How we speak down on our own selves.
Yeah.
Because I remember when I was in banking, a colleague of mine went to do some work in either Sierra Leone or Liberia. He came back and like, Charlie, he's got to go back. I said, why? They said they respect us so much.
So much.
Like Ghanaian bankers, they have this high, esteem. Be like, wow, if you're a Ghanaian banker, you must be. And then even to blow my mind, I think a year later, they came down for a training in Ghana. They wanted to learn about our central bank and all that.
Yep.
I'm like, oh wow, this same central bank that we want to kill them crying. It's like they are held in high repute across the country, across the continent.
Yep.
Anyway, so effective career development. First of all, why effective career? I thought you come out of school, you get a job, you flow through the process. 60 years, you retire, you go home. Why do we need to have a career development?
Well, Jerry, you've started the conversation on a very good note. And that is what we learn in our school progression, right? And I do remember growing up, the mantra was go to school, pass your exams, after university, get a job, marry, give birth, and leave. All right. and once you get to that level, it's expected that you would.
You toe the line.
You don't toe the line. You don't just toe the line, but then the responsibility shifts as you progress in that learning space.
Okay.
As you transit from a student to, a career or the job market, remember your parents would sort you out throughout your student days. Right at an university, you are seen as what? An adult.
You are an adult.
Whether you have a job or not. All right. And so at that point, the responsibility now shifts to you to take care of the house.
Yeah, any
Right.
salary.
Whether you are earning or not, right? Because for our parents, once you finish university, you should get a job, all right? And so the responsibility shifts as you grow and as you get into the job market. And that requires a lot of thinking, a lot of modulation to ensure that once you are taking out the responsibility, you do more than what your parent did for you.
Okay.
Not just for yourself, but even for your siblings and your parents. So your parents will be proud of you. All right. And so when you look at it that way, it means that you must strive to succeed in whatever job portfolio you find yourself. And that's the reason why we need to have these conversations around career, so that we don't just find ourselves, working for working's sake. Now, there's a difference between career and occupation.
Okay.
Right. Career is something that you build over a long period of time. It includes your training, your professional expertise, the skills and knowledge that you gather. All right. That becomes who you are. So, for example, all doctors are physicians.
Okay.
Right. But there are specific specializations. If probably this is a hospital and I am a radiologist and I come here to work, all right, in this space, I am a radiologist. And that is the job that I do here.
Okay.
Now, the title radiologist, okay, is not a career, all right? It is the job, and it's normally held by the organization.
Okay.
So, for example, you are here. You are the host.
Okay.
Right? You are the host because you are the host of ZFM, morning show. Okay. When you move out from here, you join another organization. You may not be the host. Will you continue to say that you are the host?
No, you won't.
That is the job you are doing.
Okay.
All right. So
Okay.
that host, which in you sit here, belongs to Z Multimedia.
Okay. Interesting.
Okay. But your skills, your experience, your knowledge, your education that brought you here would go with you wherever you go. And so you would realize that your career may be different type of jobs or occupation you find yourself in that you build over a period of time, all right, makes you a career professional.
Okay.
In that space.
So using myself as a guinea pig in this discussion, you're saying that as a communications person, right, which is what I went to school to study, that then is my career. But this one is a job.
This is a job.
So I transitioned from corporate affairs of corporate organizations coming to radio this, write for maybe newspapers and so you're saying that the career as a communication specialist, you're doing it
around different portfolios of jobs, and those over a period of time makes you an expert in the communication space. So somebody who just completed school as a communication person, all right, and somebody who has worked in that industry for 10 years, 15 years, all right, the experience is never the same.
Oh, okay. Wow.
The experience is never the same. And so it is important that we understand, the differences and how they all interlinked and leads to one another. Right?
So this is why there's a need for planning.
This is why there's a need for conversation and planning and support to help people to go through their career development effectively.
In your experience, we don't plan?
So I'll speak from two perspectives. First of all, from the individual perspective, we do plan, but not in a way that would enhance professionalism in the space. So, for example, our education system pushes us to sometimes do more or less like go with the flow without proper support systems. We do have some guidance and counseling in our secondary schools, all right? But the question, how many of the students normally go there willingly to seek guidance and counseling, all right, in terms of...
I don't remember
exactly for the number of years, okay? Sometimes the school would have to organize intentionally, but those mass organization of career guidance and seminars and all that, okay, may not specifically deal with the specific issues that affect individuals.
What I recall is that they will bring an alumni or alumnus to come talk.
One time, 30 minutes, so talk plenty English, and
then we admire the person. Hey, Charlie. When I grow up, I'll be
we
like...
call it motivation speaking. You know, there's a career development. So career development comes with a plan within a space of time. So you don't do one event and say that you are doing career development. It doesn't work. It is motivational, events. Yeah. Okay. And then people go to the university. Sometimes we do a lot of courses that are so broad that you cannot narrow down to specific, industry. And so people finish university without knowing what kind of career path, they want to charter. And so people finish school, they do national service. After national service, but they say, hey, so what kind of job can I fit? Because they start chasing for everything. So where should it start? So where should career planning start? So career planning should start from the onset.
Class one.
They may be too young, but as a parent, that comes back to the support systems.
Okay.
All right. The support system. Okay. So as a parent, when the child is growing up, you should be able to identify what makes the child, what kind of the interest areas are the child, the child in. Sometimes or most often when the child gets to, the early ages of from 5 years going, at the below 5, there is that kind of interest in everything. But from 5 going, you may end up having specific interests of the child. The interest may change at teenage.
Of course.
Right. And as people, the children go to school, all right, and they grow and they learn about themselves, all right, the interest may, and it's your responsibility as a parent, and that's the very first point of call, to be observant and to be able to read around the areas of interest and see what can best fit in. That's one. The second stage is where the child himself at a matured age, okay, are able to learn about themselves. And that is where the self-actualization come in. And so we have something called the 4 Ds, the 4 Ds of human development.
Okay.
The very first D is where the child discover, the discover. Self-discovery is about awareness about oneself, knowing who you are. Many a time it's difficult to answer the question who you are. People will answer by saying what they do.
Interesting.
Right. And so being able to tell what unique competencies that makes you unique from Peter, all right, is a selling point. It's a start point to tell that I can go into this industry because I am expressive. I can go into the communication industry because I'm expressive, all right, which we normally would have called in a local setting too known or talkative.
Okay.
Right. Professionally, it's expressive. All right. So if you are an expressive kind of a person, then you know that you can fit into any job that requires talking, because you don't find it difficult talking.
It's your strength.
It's your strength.
Interesting.
All right. And so if you don't discover it, how would you be able to utilize it? And as you discover yourself, you'd also definitely know about your weaknesses. Now, I don't talk much about weaknesses. I prefer to use your hidden potential, because your weakness, if observed, seen, and worked on it, becomes an additional strength.
Oh, wow.
So it is a hidden potential. All right. Sometimes people use the word weaknesses because and the reason why I don't like using the word weaknesses is that weaknesses is more of a negative denotation. You know, as for me, my weakness, everybody knows that I'm quick-tempered. So it's like you have accepted that weakness, that there's nothing you can do. Okay, so it starts from the mind. But if you know that, yes, if you are quick-tempered and you work on it and you're able to manage your anger, all right, and emotions, then it becomes an added strength.
Okay.
In the space of working with teams.
Interesting.
Or other people. So that is the self-awareness. Now the second stage of human development is the discuss, the discuss, where you seek opinions and feedback from other people.
Okay. So
people, you have realized that you are, let me use the word talkative, because that is what is normally known to us here, talkative. Okay, but you don't see yourself as a talker, but you have heard that people say that you are a talker. So put yourself to the, on the floor. Ask people closer to you. Am I a talkative person? And when I talk, do I make sense? Oh no, yeah, you talk plenty. Yeah, it's true, but there's sense in it. Okay. Many a times you speak some foolish things more, but sometimes you over elaborate on matters. So these feedbacks helps you to reshape what you are thinking, what you know about yourself, and help you to now decide which part to do to make changes in yourself, and how you can apply it. This will all make sense very soon. Right, so we have the discuss, where we collect feedback. Now, sometimes the feedback, as humans as we are, we see it as,
negative
criticisms.
Yes.
We think that we are being criticized, and natural, people in their default mode would always want to defensive.
Okay.
And so, we must be very careful that there's a thin line between feedback and criticisms. All right, there's a very thin line. And so if you see the feedbacks as positive feedbacks, whether negative, derogatory or not, all right, and not all of them, may be right, because people have different perceptions, all right, about you and what you can do and what you can't do. Some may be true, some may not be true. Yours is to siphon those that are true, related to you, and then begin to ask yourself, how can I, all right, make changes to this? All right, so the feedback section is very, very important. Now, the third stage after feedback is where you diversify. That's the fourth, D of human development, diversify. The diversification is about now identify, because you have said you are talkative. People have confirmed that indeed you are talkative. And the question is that, do you want to remain a talkative? No. All right, so in that case, what can I do to manage my talkative nature? And that is where you now begin to diversify your approach. Okay, I need to do A, B, C, D. I need to be mindful. Sometimes I should just not speak, just listening more, right? Then you are now enhancing your competencies. So at that point, you are now going to now put a strategy on how to diversify from the negatives, all right, and probably enhance the positives to be an effective person. Right, good. Now, but you cannot diversify and be productive if you don't put time. So the fourth stage, with the 4D, the fourth D is where you now develop. That is where we have now got into the development stage. So before the development, you must discover, you must discuss, diversify. You might diversify, then you now put a time. That over the next 6 months, I want to, be like this, be like that, go to that part. I want to develop this skill, right? And all these come to make you an effective person in any chosen career.
Interesting. Let's get to discuss. Feedback. If you sought your feedback from social media, they could kill you.
Yeah, they could, because they
Very toxic comments.
Yes. And that's why social media may not be the right place to see the feedback. I mean, first of all, your family members, those who are close to you, those who know you. You don't seek feedback from people who don't know who you are. You understand? And so the right people to seek the feedback from are people who are closer to you, family members, right? Both internal and then external, family members. All right. You can also talk about friends who are closer to you, work colleagues. All right. Those with your neighborhood, a church, community and all that. So look for people who are closer to you, all right, who you normally engage on the daily basis, all right. And once you do that, they are able to give you a very honest feedback based on their knowledge of you.
Okay. Because you need to have a tough skin if you are going to go out there to. What role does a person's personal values play in career development or choosing career or whatever? I mean, where is personal values in
values in general are principles you hold dear, all right, in life.
Exactly.
All right, and these values may be preempted by education, by religious beliefs. All right, it can also be be preempted by your personality. Your personality. Okay, and so once these values are principles that you hold here, it's strong enough to project the integrity, the honesty of a person. And so it plays a role, all right, in the more of a behavioral, approach. But I mean, when we talk about skills, something like the console, you don't sit by the console by believing in God. Some of these personal value is believing in God.
Exactly.
That
yes.
God exists. So everything is prayerful, right? You can pray as much. If you don't know how to use the console, it sits behind you to flop. Right? And so yes, it plays a role, but there are areas that you must also have that knowledge and then a skill. And once you have personal value, it makes you a complete human being, trustworthy.
It's 9:30, and it's Personal Growth and Development Mondays. The topic for today is strategies for effective career development. Peter Akai Anum is a productivity coach and is with the Foundation for Child and Youth Development Africa. So from what you're saying, it means career development is lifelong.
It is a lifelong. It is not a one sport activity and then you hit and go. No.
Like you must always be. So it's like a radar system that is guiding you at every point in time.
Absolutely. And that is the first one path. It depends on the individual. And what I've given is just the individual, taking the action of developing himself into a particular career. All right. Now, knowledge of this also helps you to know the kind of industry you should find yourself in. You should apply. If you are somebody who is very emotional, all right, and always uses your heart to make decisions, your intrinsic self using the heart, then you can best fit into a career or an industry that has to work with people, like NGO sector.
Oh, okay.
Teaching and learning, it has to do with people, right? But if you're somebody who is not too emotional, everything you want to use your head to calculate,
very logic,
logic and all that, all right? Then that you cannot be a children, you cannot be working with children and young people because you always think.
You are left-brained.
So you would always probably be in the corporate, where
banking and finance,
accounting,
insurance.
Yeah. So and talking about finance, I mean, in my line of work, in and outside corporate, particularly even in the informal sector. Treasurers and financial officers are always seen as very wicked.
Yeah.
You know, especially in the NGO sector, where, you know, maybe a program officer who is passionate about maybe some girl child education program, and they brought a request and need money immediately to be done. The finance man will be, oh, proceed, yes, he has to go through.
Yeah, they are like that.
You know, and they don't have the heart, and they always say that the treasurer is, you know, the finance, you know, because of the different you know, personalities involved. A typical example of using the heart and then the head. Right, okay. And then we also have a group who are extroverted and introverted. All right, again, those ones also, you know, have particular career path that they can take, that they can easily fit in, because you should love what you do as a professional, whichever career you find yourself. Okay, and so from oneself, you are able to determine the career path that can best suit you, and you'll be happy in it.
Is the end goal happiness or money?
It should be happiness, okay? Because if it's about money, then you'll be hopping from one job to the other. All right. Money is important. I do agree, you know, but there are people who, you know, follow the money such that at the detriment of their happiness. So you are in the industry, you are doing the job, but you are not too happy. It also affects your productivity.
Definitely.
Right. Okay. So money is important. Okay. However, the exciting thing is the fact that you love what you do. When you love what you do, and you enjoy what you do, okay, and the money is coming, all right, you'll never stop.
Okay.
But I've seen people who are working in high commission, you know, I don't want to mention the high, but, you know, embassies, all right, and they feel that they're getting all the money, but they don't find fulfillment in it, and they resign, and then they start an NGO. Yeah. So you see the difference, you know, the economy of it. So that is what makes career exciting. The second pathway is the corporate side. So, for example, you have gotten into Z Media. The organization has the responsibility to help the staff to also grow in their career development.
Oh, okay.
And that is where organization must invest in the people. Many a times we have many organizations who find it difficult to invest in their own people, right? But it is very, very important, and that's why we have HR departments in almost all organizations. The idea is to support staff in their career journey.
Okay.
Right, and that is also one other path. So you come in, right, but the organization also have a responsibility to support you through those, that career path as well. Yeah.
Mr. Kweku Yankson, you should be helping me develop my career, Mr. Kweku Yankson. So we're looking at the individual. So now he's done the discussions, he's given the feedback, he's decided to diversify from the negatives and concentrate on the positives. Now he wants to develop himself in one area. He goes into the creative space. You're saying that because of who he found himself out to be, then he would know whether that creative space or whether he should go into technical or whether even he should go into business is a place for him. In your experience as a productivity coach, have you come across people who have found that they are in the wrong place but they can't return?
Now, okay, so the can return is more specific. They can return. I've seen people who are in the wrong space.
Let me give you an example to help you out, because I did around a decade in the banking industry. So I knew some of my senior colleagues who would say, okay, so after I had left, they would say, Charlie, good to say you leave. We won't leave, but we have 5 more years to go on pension. Where will they go?
That's all coming to that. They have no option.
Uh-huh.
So the reason of they want to go, but they can't go, not because they don't have the willpower, but there's no other option. No other option could be an example. Maybe they are close to pension. So at their age, who employ them? You understand? So they better complete it. Others who may not have found the right space.
Even at 55 years.
Oh no, not that is extreme.
Okay.
That is extreme. So assuming somebody is maybe 35 and started working maybe a banking industry for at the age of 30, and after 5 years you realize, no, that's not a place for me, right? And he or she wants to leave. You cannot just stop the work, come and sit home and go hungry, right? And so they are working, but then they are looking elsewhere. If there's any other opportunity in the area that they have identified, they will just leave. So they're not leaving is not because they have decided they don't want to leave. It's because there's a condition.
Something is holding
them. When the thing is released, they will sketch off.
Interesting discussion we're having here. Strategies for effective career development. If you have an idea you want to share with us via WhatsApp, you can do that. 0544321019. That is the line. 0544321019. Tell us what your experience is like within the career development space. And then you never know. Give us a question, then Mr. Anum would help you. So now the person has found his space. Can the job, because you've differentiated between career and job, can the job frustrate somebody in their career development?
No.
Okay.
No. Because see, the career, like I said, is something that you have built based on education. So what you went to school to study, what the skill, the expertise. All right, and one of the cardinal principles of career development is to build on the skills, knowledge, and expertise. Now, the job help you to build on that skills, expertise, all right, and the knowledge. And so, if you have a particular job that is frustrating you, all you need is just to switch jobs.
And even in that frustration, you'll be learning.
Very
important,
right? And when you decide to move out, all right, you are going out with your skills, your knowledge, and your expertise. And that is what would land you the next job.
Important.
And so the frustration may not necessarily, take away your career. Because the career lives with you.
They could take away the job, but not the career.
Not the career.
How important are managers, supervisors, mentors, or people who you look up to? How important are they in effective career development?
They play a very important role, especially once they have gone through that path before. Normally, mentors, coaches, managers, all right, are people who have gone through that path before. And so they have the knowledge about the path, the experience is there, And so as a person who is developing your career, you must engage them as learners.
Oh, wow.
Engage them as learners. All right. And so you don't go to them
as if you know
all. Even if the person had came into the job with SS, qualification, and you have gone to do your masters.
But he's been on it for like 50 years.
He's been on it for like 50 years. You don't just rubbish it. So you go to them and engage them as learners. And as you do that, you are able to tap a lot from the experience. See, so experience is built over a period of time, right? Knowledge is gained. When you finish school, you have you come in with knowledge, but your knowledge is not necessarily an experience. And so you give yourself space. You now build on so when you have the skills, you have the knowledge, and you have the experience, right? It helps you to be successful in your career.
That's quite amazing because once again, I'm going to use myself. When I got into the first bank I ever worked in, like as a junior staff, one time I was given a document to go and photocopy, right? And that was the first time I had seen that kind of photocopy, the big one standing there and all that. And I didn't know where to punch. Right? It looked scary. It looked like some machine from space. But I was a kind of guy that within the first 3 days, I was everybody's
Everyone
guy.
to know everything,
Yeah,
yeah.
everybody's guy. I was everybody's guy. Guess who taught me how to really master that photocopy machine? It was a cleaner. It was a messenger. Why? He's been using it for like 10 years.
Yes, the one nobody, you know, and see how cleaners and
because
messages are treated in our corporate.
He's been using that machine for years. So he just said, "Oh, Charlie, you are struggling. Let me help you out." And he just showed me. And so as you're making that statement, it just came to mind that.
And mentors and coaches are very important. On the other hand, as the young person seeing them as you know, mentors, okay, you're engaging them as a learner. On the other hand, they also support the process by giving opportunity to practice. All right, feedback.
Exactly.
All right, and then follow-ups. And so, as a manager, when you have a group of people as part of their career development, which is an everyday thing, you must consistently create room to give feedbacks, individually and collectively, so that people may be able to learn from their mistakes.
Okay.
Not just learn from them. The feedback cannot just be negative. It can also be positive. So that we celebrate. If somebody does something that is exciting, that is nice, we should be able to celebrate it and call it out as a motivation to others. Okay, and so that is another principle, for career development. Okay, personal development from the point of the manager, providing opportunity to practice, right? Feedback, and then what? Do a follow-up.
That's how important is humility in effective career development?
No, I mean, it's non-negotiable. I mean,
humility is non-negotiable.
It's non-negotiable. If you are, even the Bible even says it. He who humbles himself,
shall be exalted. Yeah.
Okay. Now, if you have, and when you look at the corporate world, those, you know, young graduates who are normally employed, they come into the organization fresh as managers, and you have the elderly people who maybe from 4 leavers and all that. When you come in like that and you are, you know, not humble, and you are, you know, trying to rub your shoulders, the older people will just sit there and look for you, wait for you.
If they sit back and wait for it and look at you, you are blessed. But in some places I have been to, they will set some trap for you, and when your feet get into that trap, that's where you do that seniors day.
So humility is everything, you know, in career. Look, humility would raise you up. I chanced on a friend in Kenya, and he got into the firm. Naturally, he doesn't like talking, you know, and so he's always very calm and quiet. Okay, and those people are very good naturally when it comes to, you know, the introverted. They are the people call the introverted kind of person. Mm-hmm. They can be around. Everybody knows that they're around, right? And so that helped him a lot. And you know, he's very sincere, but very knowledgeable. Okay, that helped him to end up becoming one of the Africa's managers in one of the international organizations we work with. There's another example here in Ghana, one of our young people at GBC, you know. He started with our Head of State Award program, learn about, you know, communication and all that, and decided to go to GBC, you know, radio to go and do his volunteerism. All right. Now, volunteerism, last time we talked about volunteerism.
Yeah, we did. Okay?
And this is a further example of how volunteering can lead to career. And so for the young people out there, if you have free time after school, vacation, you know, find some volunteering work to do with an organization. As you do that, you are actually also charting a career path. You'll be able to help you to discover who you are, whether you have an interest there and it's an area that you may want to, you know, venture in, and probably, you know, make a decision. Okay. And that little opportunity of 3 months, he loved what he did at the radio to the extent that for the past 10, 15 years, he's working at GBC Radio now.
He eventually got employed.
He got employed. He started as volunteer. He volunteered there. He was going there, and then they added him as a casual worker. He was the one who was doing their jingles and everything on radio. And then, the opportunity came. He, was employed. He went to school to now add the qualification to it. So see how some of these...
It doesn't always have to be here and there.
First, yes. But as you are in, and there's that passion, that's love for the job, all right? It now transcends from being a job to a career. Then you get the necessary qualification or education to back it up.
Good advice, listeners. If you have a younger sibling at home who has time on their hands, and you're listening to Peter and he says, go get some volunteerism to do, it could be something that will be an eye-opener for you. For a lot of us, we want to go to school, come and the job is waiting. Please, there could be another path. Start through volunteerism and you get yourself into a good job. Humility is one. What are some of the other soft skills that are important in effective career development?
Well, so teamwork. Learning how to work in teams is also very important. Secondly, you must also be able to communicate. Communication, is also very key.
But when you say communication, you don't mean somebody like me, talk.
No. I mean, be able to understand and be understood.
Fantastic.
Right. Communicate in a language that everybody would understand. Right. We also need to be critical thinkers. Thinkers. I mean, the world is moving from, and organizations are moving away from the rhetoric, people who can just follow. You must be able to, you must be able to also to think, be creative, and be innovative. All right. When you are given A, how do you turn the A into, something else? All right. To the wow of your managers or your leaders. And that is very, very key. Right. It's also very good to be digital literate.
Be digital literate. Okay.
Right. Now, the world is moving from the archaic born before computer. We have long passed that level.
So born before computer.
We have long passed that level. Now everybody is doing technology. All right. And so don't be afraid. All right. Take the chance and be digital literate. I think it's also very important to be a global citizen. Citizenship.
What does that mean?
Like, how can you enjoy the country that you don't love? We started a conversation talking about the love for our country. All right. If you love your country, if you're in a space and you're making an impact, you put in all because you know that your impact is changing lives and it's making the country better. Stable societies are built on, by stable people who give, and make impacts. Okay. And so you cannot just say you are doing business and you are interested in your career development without thinking about how that can have positive impact in the overall, society where you are transacting business. So you must have love for the community, love for your country, and love for, the world. And that pushes us to be mindful of everything we do in line with the SDGs. It is our sustainable development goals. Okay, and so even though you are a communication person, you also have in mind sustainable development, not just within this space, but in a global space.
Okay.
Right, yeah.
One thing I have accused leadership of this country of is the fact that we are not intentional enough about this country. And we don't run the country like a business. And we're not intentional. It's like we do stuff on an ad hoc basis. We're like more of an adocracy than a democracy. I mean, I've said it. I've said it. Yeah. Mr. Kuku Yankson be waiting for me downstairs. I don't mind. I've said it. We're more of an adocracy than we are a democracy. We're not intentional about stuff that we do. If I'm to take one line from this discussion we're having so far, are you saying that if you want to be effective in your career development, then you must be intentional. You must take ownership of. You don't leave it to the school and to your parents to have chosen and said you do. You yourself, as you grow, you must be intentional. Am I right in thinking like that?
Absolutely. You are right on spot. You are right on spot. And so, and you see, what makes it more difficult, in this era is that the current generations are not being intentional in anything. I've had more people who have come to me. They want me to do an internship somewhere. Recently, the recent one is somebody who wants. He's in the university. He wants to do an internship in an organization, and he has identified British Council. And the mother came to me, knowing that I do some work with British Council. Came to me and said, "Oh, this is what my son wants. Can you help him to get there?" I said, "Okay, I'll let him call me." In the first, I said, "Why? So, why are you?
Why is mommy doing the inquiries?
Mommy doing the inquiries? Come on! I mean, he's sitting in the school, Cape Coast somewhere, and the mother is running around. Let him call me. Don't worry, let him call. Give me my number." So I guess that's what my response. And then he called me, and I wanted to find out more. And I said, "Look, okay, fair enough. Go to British Council and find out. Have you been there? No. Have you called there? No." I said, "Go there and find out.
You yourself.
All right." And so the generations want things to be done for them, and unfortunately, our parents are also, the parent love is probably pushing us.
I will do it. Trust me. I will go running around for my kid.
That is you, right? It all come back to the temperament, the personalities of how of.
But you are saying it's wrong. Let the kid go out there.
Let them experience it. All right, and then when we are supporting from behind. So as I asked him to go, I have called my friends in British Council to inquire whether they do take, and they told me, they gave me the answer. All right, and so I held on the information.
You want him to
want them to go and find out, and then come and tell me, really, So I think it is very, very important that we allow, the young people, to play the lead role, and by so doing, they become intentional about, it's not just about career, intentional about everything in life. Sometimes you compare to Ghana. Sometimes the person may be intentional about it, but the circumstances. I think the case about Ghana and the country is very different from individual. So, Ghana is a company, and I said, look at the 30 million people managing 30, even in a small organization where we have 10, 15 people that we are managing. It has never been easy, let alone managing 30 million.
But we were sitting out somewhere. You came and said you can manage it.
So don't be surprised at all, right? So the systems, and then the situations, the people, makes it difficult sometimes to get it right all the time, right? But I think it's important. You are spot on. We need to be intentional.
Intentional. Peter Akai Anum, Productivity Coach, Foundation for Child and Youth Development Africa. Once again, it's always an amazing experience having a conversation with you. I learned so much when we're talking. Thank you so much for coming through once again to bless us with your knowledge on productivity and development and all that. Any